Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk Chicago Bears. Not a lot of people want to talk about the Bears anymore, that's for sure. Not a lot of good stuff to talk about, that's that's for sure. But we're back for another game. This Sunday we're playing, we all know, the Packers in Green Bay. And which is just, I don't know. Bears have a tough one. I mean, I told you these last couple, 5, 6 games are tough. This is one of the toughest one because of the rivalry and whatnot. So let's get started real quick. The Bears are 4-8, which sucks. We all know that, and the Packers, which really sucks, are 9-3. And what's bad for the Bears this week is Green Bay's coming off a bye. They haven't played in over 10 days. So they're going to be well rested, which really sucks for us. So that's another hurdle the Bears are going to have to overcome on Sunday. So let's just talk about it. This is the oldest rivalry. They have played 204 times. And no other teams have played that many times. And unfortunately, the Packers lead, of course. They have 102 wins. We have 95, and there was 6 ties. And there was 2 playoff games played, and they split them. They're 1-1. And this is the bad part. Green Bay has won 11 of the last 13 meetings against the Bears in Lambeau Field. Yeah, you heard me. So, and that's where we're heading Sunday night on national TV to make it even worse. Now, I can't stand Rodgers. You all know that. I think he's selfish. I think he's conceited. He's a liar. He's not a team player. It's all him, him, him. He's a big baby, but he's a very good quarterback. And I hate even having to say it. But facts are facts, okay? This will say it right here. He's got 2,878 yards passing already, 23 touchdowns. And he only has 4 interceptions. So now that's a ratio that I'd love to see next year Fields having. So let's shoot for that, Justin. And he's been sacked 21 times. So we all know he's really good. He's very, very good. If you give him any kind of time, he's going to destroy you. And with our backfield being bad, we've only got really 2 decent players, and that's number 4, Jackson, and number 33, Jalen Johnson. And everybody else sucks. It's just terrible. So if we, our front defense, the defensive line and the linebackers do not get in his face, it's gonna be a long night, people. It's gonna be a long night, and he's gonna be just chewing us up. So let's hope that doesn't happen. They have 2 really good running backs, and their yards are similar. Jones is the leading running back with 564, and then Dillon is got 543. So the Bears are going to have their hands full because these guys combined have over 1,000 yards. And then Dante Adams, which we all know is really good. I mean, he has got over 1,000 yards receiving yards already this year. He has got 1,083, and that is really good. So, now our leading guy, Mr. Mooney, could have that, but he hasn't played all the games. So, plus we don't have a quarterback like Rodgers to throw to, right? But Adams is really good. So we're gonna have. I would assume maybe Jackson's gonna be on him, but I don't know. But he is very good. Randall Cobb is next with 375, but I believe he's out. So it's really they're gonna obviously double covered Adams. So the Bears have got to stop him. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. If they don't stop him, forget it. But then they have to stop Rodgers too. So. It's the double whammy. Their defense has 28 sacks, less than us, which is a good thing. They have 9 fumbles, and out of those 9 fumbles, they recovered 7 of them. But they have a high 12 interceptions. Thank God Andy Dalton is starting this game because they'd be licking their chops after last week's game because Andy didn't know who he was throwing to. And I usually at this point do the 4 categories. Where they lead in passing in the league out of 32 teams, the rushing, points scored and points allowed, but they beat us in every category except for 1, and we lead them in rushing. We were better at rushing than they are. So I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to make it worse. We know they're very good. We just don't need to keep hearing it. And we know we're not. we we don't need to keep hearing it because we've seen it every week for 12 games, haven't we? So Fields is back this week, thank God, but now he's still nursing cracked ribs. So he's a gamer. He really is, and he wants to play, and that's what I like about him. I really, this kid is going to be something special, I think, once we get rid of Nagy. So he's only played 10 games, and he's got 1,361 passing yards. He has 311 rushing yards. Now, here's the really bad part, and this is what I was saying earlier when I told you 21 touchdowns for Rodgers to 4 interceptions. That's how. No, it's 23 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's how it's supposed to be, not this way. Fields has got 4 touchdowns with 8 interceptions, and you know what? I was gonna look it up, but I forgot how many times he's fumbled the ball. But he has fumbled the ball a lot. That's something he's got to work on. He's been sacked 31 times. Ouch. So they got to protect him. I really hope that the line is come to play this week because we're going to need him. So David Montgomery, our leading running back, who I love, but he's only played 8 games. And if he had played all 12, he'd have more than 566 yards, that's for sure. He's got 566 yards rushing with 4 TDs. He'd probably be close to 1,000 right now, if not more. But he was out 4 games, and that's a huge. And he can run, man. And then his partner in crime, number 24, Herbert, who you know I love, has 389 yards. So but. Majority does go to Montgomery, and we didn't rush a lot in the beginning of the season. We were rushing more now than we were in the beginning of the season, so that's a good thing. And it's going to be very important for the Bears to rush on Sunday, because if they rush the ball and they rush it well, that keeps Rodgers off the field. And that's the most important part. Our wide receiver, Mr. Mooney, number 11, my man, has 721 receiving yards with 3 touchdowns. You know what? If we had a good offensive line and a steady quarterback, he'd be over 1,000 too, and he should be. Our next leading receivers are actually our tight end, Clement, and he's got 408 receiving yards. He'd have a lot more too if he wasn't. Our offensive line is so bad. They use him and our other tight ends on the line as blockers. So maybe next year we can see Clement's numbers go up as he's doing what he's supposed to do and catch the ball rather than having to block on the offensive line. So, and then Robinson, who I'm not a big fan of, number 12, has 339 yards receiving. He's only played 8 games. And really, when he was in those 8 games, it didn't seem like he really even wanted to play for the Bears. You know how I feel about that. I don't think the Bears should have franchise tagged him. I would have kept Fuller over him, but they didn't. So our defense has 33 sacks, and Quinn has 12 of those. We have only 5 interceptions to Green Bay's 12, so that's huge. We have more fumbles than them. We forced 11 fumbles and received 6 of them. But just think, if Mac hasn't been out for 4 or 5 games now, before he went out, him and Quinn's coming from the right, he's coming from the left. They caused so much havoc. That's why they got all those sacks. And if Mac had not gone down, we'd be in the 40s for sure, because they were getting after about the 3rd game of the season, all of a sudden it clicked, and we were getting like average 3 to 4 a game, if not more. And but when Mac went down, that changed everything, because they double cover Quinn then, so he can't get to the quarterback as much. So the Bears, you know what? The defense has got to play, but we're going to talk about that. And then the injuries. So I just mentioned the notable ones. Hicks, my man, 96, defensive line. He's a game day decision, and we really need him. I told you, those 2 running backs, they have great running backs. Quinn, if Hicks is not in the game, it's hard. The Bears don't stop the ball as well, the running game as well. So we really need Hicks, and we need him healthy. And he's been out a lot this year, and that worries me, because I don't think the Bears are going to keep him. I think this is his last year, and I love this guy. I know he's older, but he brings so much energy and guts and football knowledge to the field. When he's in there, he's a game changer. So We've seen it because he's not been in there the last few games. And then another wide receiver, 84 Goodwin. It looks like he is not out. He's not going to play. He hasn't practiced all week, so he's out. And then this was added today. 97 Edwards. He is our on the defensive end. He is questionable. He's a game day decision too. So I don't know what happened with him. So and Robinson will be playing. So let's face it. On paper, Green Bay is going to kill the Bears. On paper, they just are. And that's a fact. They've got a great running game. They've got great quarterback, even though I can't stand them, and a really good wide receiver. And their defense has been doing very, very well this year. So really, all points the Bears losing. Now, I've said many times, I believe anybody can be beaten on any given Sunday. So the Bears have got to get in Rodgers' face. I mean, he does not like to be rushed. He doesn't like to get sacked. He gets pissed. And if you can continue to even if you don't sack him, but you rush him and you force him to throw the ball before he needs to or wants to, you're gonna be in the game. And that's what the Bears defense has to do. The Bears defense has to be all over him and their receivers. Adams, and they need to. You cannot give Rodgers any kind of time. If you give him time, he's going to chew you up. And the fact that our backfield or the Bears secondary is awful, except for number 4 Jackson and number 33 Jalen Johnson. Those two are good. They're not great. They're good, but if you give him time, he's going to destroy the backfield, and this is going to be an embarrassment, another embarrassment on national TV. So the backfield, everybody has just got to show up for this game. I mean, they have to play mistake-free football. Period. They've got to play 110%. I saw last week in that loss against Arizona, the Bears were in it. Even though the score was 33-23, I still thought the Bears were in it closer than that, but Andy Dalton did throw four interceptions. Yeah. And so the Bears have to play mistake-free ball. The defense has got to come out. These guys have got to just pull it together. They played tough last week, and you could see that. 58, our linebacker, Roquan Smith, oh my God, he was everywhere last week. David Montgomery, when he was running, even when he was tackled, his legs and feet were still going. So I saw a lot of heart out there. There was other guys playing really well. And Quinn was trying, but he was double covered, which he will be again this week. So the Bears defense and offense has just got to come together and say, listen, guys, this is our Super Bowl. Our fans deserve this. As I said, Green Bay, we owned Green Bay in the 80s and early 90s, and then they've owned us from the late 90s through the 2000s. And that's going to start on Sunday night. We're going to win Sunday night, and then next year, maybe idiot, selfish Rodgers won't be there, and then that'll be a good thing. And then Fields is going to be more experienced. He's going to have his second year under his belt. We're going to have a better offensive line, and we're going to turn this around, and we're going to start beating them every year in, year out, year in, year out, and we're going to make them feel as shitty as we do. But to get a win on Sunday night in Lambeau Field, oh my God, early Christmas gift, our Super Bowl, woo-hoo, I'm happy. I don't care what happens the rest of the year because we're not going to the playoffs. And if they lose Green Bay, they're still going to the playoffs because then they'd be 9-4. Or no, whatever they are. I don't know. So, yeah, they're 9-3. They'd be 9-4. So it would be great, but it has to be mistake-free ball. I mean, including penalties, everything has got to stop. They have got to play the highest level they have all year to win this game. And Merry Christmas. I know you can do it. So let's see. But this is a funny little tidbit that I had saw. Because we are dead last in the passing game. We average 173 yards a game. Back in the 40s, the Bears had a quarterback that even though none of us were alive then, but I'm pretty sure you've all heard of Sid Luckman, right? So from 1943 to 1947, he averaged over 108, almost 190 yards per game. That the Bears now are so bad that this I can't even speak. So the Bears' offensive is literally less effective than the Bears' offense in the 1940s. And you say, well, what's the big deal? Say, but the 1940s, you got to remember they weren't as big and strong and powerful and players back then. They're much bigger and much more athletic in this era, and they were better back then than we are now. I mean, Nagy, what the heck, right? So it just made me laugh when I saw that. I was like, you're kidding me, right? So, but we are dead last in the thing. The thing is, so the Bears this week are playing our foes, Green Bay, who always beat us. So the Bears are going to have to play mistake-free football, as I said. But the problem is not only do they have to play a really, really good team, so that's their one obstacle. The second obstacle is their coach, who cannot scheme and call a game. And that's the problem. And it's been the problem since he got here. He got lucky in 2018 when he first got here because Mitch played well and things just clicked. But then he just started changing things up and doing it. And they, Bill Lazor supposedly is calling the plays, our offensive coordinator. But I've read many, many times this year when they changed that, Nagy stopped officially calling the plays because you'd see him calling them on the sidelines. He still, before every game, gives Lazor a sheet and says, and it's the scheme for what he wants to do with the plays and how he wants them to go. So he hands it to Lazor and says, this is what I want. You can do them whenever you feel fit. So he's still calling the plays. And so the Bears are playing a really tough team on national TV on Sunday night, and they've got this anchor around their ankles called Matt Nagy because he does not call plays to the strength of his players. And anybody, even somebody who doesn't watch football, can see that. And I'm really hoping the Bears brass, it has sunk finally in that he's got to go. Of course, there is rumors going around again, which I don't believe, that he's going to get fired if the Bears lose. So what happens if the Bears win? Then the brass goes, oh, well, then we can't fire him yet. I mean, come on. They're not going to fire him to the end of the season, although I'd love it. I would love nothing more than him to be gone Monday morning. Because if the Bears lose and he gets fired, I'll sing the victory song for Nagy being let go. Yeah. So, the Bears, again, I say the penalties have got to be less than 5. We got to win the time of possession. Mistake-free ball. We cannot turn the ball over. Excuse me. Fields cannot fumble the ball like he does. We cannot throw interceptions. We need to get the turnovers. Our defense needs to get in his face, Rodgers' face, to make him. Don't let him have time back there. If you give him too much time, he's going to destroy us. So if you can't sack him, just get close. Push him backwards, piss him off, because he does get rattled. For all the experience he has, you can get in his head. You really can. And the Bears can do it. Any team can be beaten on any Sunday. That is for sure. I believe that. I don't care who you are. Hey, ask the New England Patriots several years ago when they went 16-0, and then they go and lose the Super Bowl. So, it can happen. But the Bears have got to. This is, Chicago Bears, this is your Super Bowl as well as ours. And the fans, want it so bad because nothing's better than to beat Green Bay in Lambeau. Take that, Green Bay. So, I really don't have to say any more because you all know what they need to do. And it would be one great, come on, Santa. It would be one great game. I don't care what the Bears do the rest of the season if we win tonight, Sunday night. I'd be down. I really, really, really would. So, let's see. And then I wanted to do a little side note story here. I watch a lot of football, a lot besides the Bears. I watch all games on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays. If it's on Saturdays, which is coming up next week, and there's going to be two games on Saturday, the 18th. But I've seen the refs. Now, reffing is not an easy job, I know that. But this year, and I've watched football a long time, this year really stands out that they have made a lot of bad calls. Now, we've seen them in past years. A couple years ago, they cost the Saints to go to the Super Bowl when they called that terrible pass interference, which wasn't, and the Saints lost, and they didn't get to go to the Super Bowl, and they should have. It would have been a better Super Bowl. And I've seen, and not just Bears games, I've seen a lot of calls, just terrible calls. And it's altered several games this season, including our Pittsburgh game, as you recall, two bad calls, and they took points. They gave points for them and took points off the field, off the score for us, so that we would have won that game. And the Dallas game on Thanksgiving, bad call, they lost the game. There's been a lot of bad calls, and I'm not talking about the taunting penalty, which I hate, needs to go. It either needs to go or needs to be much more black and blue, white and black, you know what I mean. And it's not. It's a very subjective, opinionated foul, and it needs to go. But they've just done some plays, some call playing this. They've thrown the flag when they shouldn't have, or they don't throw the flag when they should, and it is altering games, and you can't have that. And in this day and age, you just can't have that. And you know what? So in the off season, the NFL have got to go over to the reps who are in charge of the refs and say something needs to be done. You need to go back to school and do some studying because you guys ain't doing it. They're going to make mistakes. They're human. I get that, but too many this year, way too many. So, you've taken away so much from football. You can't hit this, you can't hit low, you can't hit high, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do this. So they've taken all that away from the players. So don't take their ability to play away by bad ref calling, because that's the worst. There is just nothing worse. So come on, refs, get your shit together. All right. So Bears and Bears fans, let's hope Sunday. Again, mistake-free football, the only way we're going to win this game. And maybe Justin can have the game that we've been all waiting for. We've seen, bright spots here and there, but it hasn't been consistent. Part of it is the play calling and our offensive line, who did play better last week. Those 4 interceptions on Andy Dalton were not on our offensive line. I'm telling you that right now. Those were strictly Andy Dalton's. Yeah, Andy. So I'd like to see Fields break out. He hasn't had that chance yet. And maybe it will be Sunday night, and we can show all of the football world we're coming back. The Bears are going to be back in 2022. And so let's hope that we can get our offensive line holds up for Fields to be able to scan the field and throw some great passes, and the running game. If you could get that running game going and passing game going at the same time, that's one thing we haven't been able to do. Either one's going or the other one, but we haven't gotten both of them really going well yet. Once that happens, they're going to be good. They're going to be good. So maybe we start Sunday night, right? Let's go, Bears, because I want to win so bad because I can't stand that Rodgers pig, liar, selfish, conceited guy. Even though he's a damn good quarterback. I hate saying it. I do, but it's the truth. So go Bears. I say we're going to win, and I'll be singing the victory song on Monday's show. All right. Right on, baby. All right. So as I end my show, as I always do, I just want to say thanks for watching. You guys are great subscribers and watchers. Same ones watch every week. I love your comments. Keep them coming. And as always, let's stop hate. Let's stop bigotry. Let's stop your party, my party. Let's just all stick together. These last couple years have been tough, and it's just not getting any better right now. So we need each other. So smile at somebody this week, today. Help somebody out because you just don't know what's going on in their lives. Like you don't know what's going on in my life right now. I'm dealing with my cat who is very, very sick. And my Elvis is awesome. He's been a great companion. He's not really a cat, he's a cat dog. And he's very sick. And I'm gonna have to put him down in a couple weeks probably. So, but you don't see that, right? So it's killing me inside. I'm so sad. Um, it's screwing with my head, to be quite honest with you, thinking about that. I'm planning on the date when I'm gonna kill my cat. It's sad. So my point is here: you don't know what's happening in people's lives, so help people out. Smile, help, give them a helping hand. It feels good and it is good. Okay. So I love you guys, and go Bears. Let's show the Sunday night football world that we can play football, and let's beat those Packers. Right? Right. All right. So as always, I'll see you Monday. Hopefully it's Victory Monday. And keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby. See you next week.